Hello and welcome to Today with Jesus. This is the podcast where we believe every day is a great day with Jesus. I'm Robert Hatfield.
And I'm Dan Winkler. Thank you for joining us in our study today. We are going to do something exciting for season 11.
Yes.
We're going to be in Isaiah, what chapter?
53.
Isaiah 53. We're going to dive right in. And what we want to do straight out of the chute is we want to read the chapter. And hopefully we will do that every episode of our study. So let's open it up and start with Isaiah 53, verse 1. Robert, read the first three verses.
Who has believed what he has heard from us? And to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? For he grew up before him like a young plant, like a root out of dry ground. He had no form or majesty that we should look at him, no beauty that we should desire him. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. As one from whom men hide their faces, he was despised, and we esteemed him not.
Excellent. So continuing to read Isaiah 53, verses 4 through 6, in, again, as we have been, the English Standard Version, surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that brought us peace, and with his wounds we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all.
Verse 7, he was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. Like a lamb that is led to the slaughter, like a sheep that before its shearers is silent, so he opened not his mouth. By oppression and judgment he was taken away. And as for his generation, who considered that he was cut off out of the land of the living, stricken for the transgression of my people? They made his grave with the wicked, with a rich man in his death. Although he had done no violence, there was no deceit in his mouth.
Yet, verses 10 through 12, it was the will of the Lord to crush him. He has put him to grief. When his soul makes an offering for guilt, he shall see his offspring. He shall prolong his days. The will of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. Out of the anguish of his soul he shall see and be satisfied. By his knowledge shall the righteous one, my servant, make many to be accounted righteous, and he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore I will divide him a portion with the many, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong. Because he poured out his soul to death, and was numbered with the transgressors, yet he bore the sin of many, and makes intercession for the transgressors. Isaiah 53, one of the greatest messianic passages in all of the Old Testament.
That's right. And that's our study for this season of Today with Jesus. We want to welcome you. Today with Jesus from the Light Network. Encourage your soul, enlighten your mind, and empower your faith. This is the Light Network. Brother Dan, it's been a little while.
It has been a long while. I have missed that song, and believe it or not, I have missed you.
You said that on the recording.
I hated to say it.
I'm going to play that over and over.
Oh, my. But it's so good to be back and study. And I'm looking forward to this study, Isaiah 53. It's going to help. It's going to help me,
me
draw
too.
even closer to my Lord, and I'm thankful. Could I kind of catch everybody up?
Please do. By the way, we're together. We're in the same space, which is unusual. And we're in Sevierville, Tennessee, and some people are probably hearing the background noise. There are kids' classes off in the distance. They're screaming and having a good time. We're at Polishing the Pulpit.
So that is different, but there's something that is the same. We're in a different space, but you're still spaced out.
I'm still spaced out.
It's
I don't
the
know what's
same.
going on.
Yeah. So everybody ought to feel right at home.
Wow, great. Well, I already feel right at home, even though it's been a year.
Oh, so the reason for our absence, my wife 53 years as of yesterday. How about that?
I didn't know yesterday was
Yes.
the day.
We always celebrate our anniversary at Polishing the Pulpit.
Huh.
I am a romantic.
Yes. Wow.
Oh, and she's sweet about it. But my wife of 53 years became deathly ill back in March, or February really, of this year. She had an aortic aneurysm to burst, lost 3 units of blood internally, and it caused a great deal of internal damage. And we've had to be recovering from that. So we had to lose an entire season together and give some attention to her. She's doing much, much better now, is here, as you know, at Polishing the Pulpit. And for that, I'm so grateful. She's a sweetheart of sweethearts and is doing much better, and I'm thankful. But that's why our absence, and I did miss being able to visit together and study together with you. You blessed my life on a repeated basis, and I'm excited about being in Isaiah 53. So kind of take it from there and help me know what in the world we're going to do.
Well, if for our audience who was with us for season 10, which was one whole episode before everything started that you just described,
Right.
We did sort of an overview in season 10, episode 1 of the entire book of Isaiah.
Right.
And we do feel like we need to catch all of us back up to speed, but we're going to be in Isaiah 52 today, verses 13 through 15 specifically, to show how all of this is leading up to this really high mountaintop moment in the book of Isaiah when we get to chapter 53.
Right.
And I love the way that Isaiah 52 verse 13 begins. At least in the English Standard Version, it says, "Behold, my servant shall act wisely." My servant. I like that. My servant. God's servant. The voice of God through this beloved prophet Isaiah. Behold. It's like he's saying, watch.
Yes.
Look at what I'm about to do. And so all of this, just this first little phrase in Isaiah 52:13, takes us back in thought to the contextual flow of the book of Isaiah. And specifically when he talks about my servant, to 4 what are called servant songs, 3 of which have preceded what is now about to happen. Isaiah 53 is the final of these 4 servant songs in the book of Isaiah, all of which focus on Jesus. Now, Isaiah 53 is the most known, I think, of all of them.
Right.
And that's because it's this really intense, and we should remind our audience, prophetic look. I mean, this is hundreds of years before Jesus is on earth and before he goes to the cross. And what we're about to study in season 11 of Today with Jesus is remarkable because there's so many details of the redemptive work of Christ in Isaiah 53. It's amazing. But in the preceding servant songs, and we don't have time. By the way, we're trying to keep this at 30 minutes.
And we're going to.
We are.
You put a governor on us.
The music is going to fade us out whether we're done or not.
So let me say something right quick.
Yeah, please.
Here at Polishing the Pulpit, people would come up, and I'm sure you've had the same thing. They say, I love your podcast. Enjoy Today with Jesus. And I say, this is what we're going to do for season 11, and we're going to try to keep it at 30 minutes. Almost every one of them looked at me and either said or gave me this look. Yeah, right.
Yep, that's right. So today we're proving all of you wrong. That's really we are that petty. That's
there you go. Hey, help me with those 4 servant songs, the previous 3, and kind of put my finger on the pulse of what those are about and lead me up to this chapter 53.
Yeah, just a brief glance at these. The first one is found in Isaiah 42, verses 1 through 4. And if we could just put a big summary on that, it's talking about the servant's gentle mission and how God will delight in him. You read those 4 verses, it's just amazing. Then we fast forward, and the next one is found in Isaiah 49, verses 1 through 6. The servant's global scope. It says that he'll be a light to the Gentiles. That's amazing.
Yes.
And then we come to Isaiah 50 in verses 4 through 9, the servant's obedient suffering and his unwavering faith. And now we come to Isaiah 53. So together, these 4 servant songs describe who the servant is, what he's going to do, the fact that he's going to suffer, and then the ultimate purpose of his mission. And albeit, this is all couched in a context in Isaiah where God is offering hope to a Jewish nation who soon are going to be exiled. They're going to go into Babylonian captivity. Isaiah, much like Jeremiah, is prophesied that this is going to happen. In fact, it's going to happen pretty soon.
And yet he gives them hope. It's going to happen.
And yet he gives them hope. God's going to bring them back. And then he even says here in Isaiah chapter 52, verse 3, he says, you were sold for nothing, and I'm going to redeem you.
Isn't that amazing?
You were sold for nothing, and you shall be redeemed without money, Isaiah 52:3 says. So God's beginning to show them, albeit the captivity itself hadn't even happened yet. Right. The exile hasn't happened yet. But God's showing them these glimpses of hope. And this hope is going to come in a form that they do not expect. And so we get to the New Testament, and the people don't receive Jesus, and we wonder why. And even, Peter and the other apostles in the book of Acts say, listen, the prophets told you all this stuff was going to happen. But as we've seen in our study of the book of Mark in previous seasons, even the apostles were slow to kind of catch up to Jesus didn't come to restore the political entity that is the Israelite nation.
Correct.
He came for something else. And if you have that New Testament glimpse in mind, we get into Isaiah 49, for example, and we read that phrase, he'll be a light to the Gentiles. This isn't just about one people group.
Right.
This is going to be a global thing. Yeah.
Right. So let me ask you to do this.
Okay.
Put my finger on the pulse of each of those servant songs again. Tell me what the first one, where I can find it, and what it was about, and then take pause.
Okay. Isaiah 42, 1 through 4. The servant's gentle mission, God will delight in him.
The servant's gentle mission. When you said that, I couldn't help but think of Jesus' own words, I am gentle and lowly in heart, there in Matthew chapter 11. What about the second one?
Okay, Isaiah 49, 1 through 6, the servant's global scope.
I couldn't hear, when I heard that, I couldn't help but think of the Lord's own Great Commission, going to all the world and preach the gospel. And what was the third one?
The third one is Isaiah 50, verses 4 through 9, his obedient suffering and unwavering faith.
And when you said that, I couldn't help but think of the Holy Spirit reflecting on the life that Jesus lived when he said in Hebrews chapter 5, though he was a son, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered, and that's Isaiah 53.
That is.
So when we turn to the New Testament and reflect back on, put our finger on the pulse of these servant songs, and then think of how Jesus lived his life, whether we are right in the thick of walking with him or reflecting back through the epistles on him, you see Jesus as the fulfillment of these servant songs. And this is one of the beautiful things that we're going to see as the season unfolds and we begin to dissect Isaiah 53. We will look at it under 4 specific headings, and then we'll go back through it another time, and we will look at 7 predictive prophecies that specifically point to Jesus, if not Jesus, right there on the cross. Somebody even said, when you read Isaiah 53, it's like Isaiah was sitting in the shadows of Calvary taking dictation or taking notes. So it's amazing.
So listen to how, now that we come with that background in mind, right? Okay, here's a nation of people to whom Isaiah is preaching in the Old Testament times, and they are about to go into Babylonian captivity. The reason why is because of their sins. And if you go back and listen to Season 10, Episode 1 of Today with Jesus, we really punched that point then, I believe, and just talking about the gross sinfulness of this nation, God's covenant people, by the way.
They were described as being sick. They were sin sick.
That's
people.
right, yeah. So now all of this is given in the midst of the hope that will follow that exile, that Babylonian captivity. So in Isaiah 52, all right, this is the waning verses before where we're going to spend the rest of our season. We see summarized in very general form everything that he's really about to describe with greater detail in chapter 53. So I'm just going to read 52, 13 through 15.
Okay.
Behold, look, pay attention. My servant will act wisely, or the ESV has a footnote, shall prosper. And so the Christian Standard Bible renders this, my servant shall be successful. Now, I immediately take pause and say, wait, successful in what? Well, look at what he's talking about in context.
Yes.
You will be redeemed. You were sold for nothing, and I'm going to redeem you without money. Okay, we're intrigued. How are you going to do that? Through this servant that he's talking about. And he will be successful. He shall be high and lifted up. He shall be exalted. And then we say, as many were astonished at you. Now it's like the Father is talking about and talking to the servant. Many were astonished. The Christian Standard Bible again says appalled at you. And then it says this, his appearance was so marred beyond human semblance.
Unbelievable.
His form beyond that of the children of mankind. Okay, now, but follow the argument again, because I realize now that Isaiah 52:14 is describing the terrible impacts, the physical blows, the whips, the crown of thorns, the scourging that the Lord's servant, Jesus, is going to endure for us. His appearance, you don't even recognize him.
Unbelievable.
You
Beyond
look at
human
that.
semblance. That is incredible.
You look at that, it's like Isaiah saying, you'll look at him and think, is that a human being?
Oh.
That's how physically mistreated he was. Okay, and verse 14 began with an as argument. Just as many are astonished at you, verse 15, so shall he sprinkle many nations. Kings shall shut their mouths because of him. It's like they stand in awe over what they're witnessing.
Wow.
But if we watch the argument carefully, they're not standing in awe of what is described in verse 14. It's not that they look at his appearance and they think, oh, I can't. You remember in the Roman world, crucifixion was a common thing.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus isn't the only one. Now, his crucifixion is the only atoning sacrifice for humankind. But even as Jesus hung on the cross, there were two others, one on each side.
He wasn't the only one executed via crucifixion.
By crucifixion, right. So what they're standing in amazement of, the rulers of the nations, is the fact that there has been a sprinkling of many nations. Some translations say that they're startled over this. I think the Hebrew word may be a little bit ambiguous here, but the thrust as the ESV translates it is, here are individuals, many nations, who are cleansed of this sin sickness we know as we're making application, and the kings shut their mouths in awe of what they see, for that which has not been told them they see, and that which they have not heard they understand. There's something about the effects of this sacrifice, of this servant, that shuts their mouths in a silent reverence over what they see.
I'm wondering if I'm reading that, if I don't have the centurion coming to my mind saying,
yes.
truly this was the Son of God. Or if you're another account, truly this was a righteous man.
Yes,
So they come to this point, it's an aha moment, if you please.
Yes.
This is amazing, Robert, this verse 15, so shall he sprinkle. Now, you take that and put it into the Old Testament context of being cleansed and atoned. And, of course, you remember the Day of Atonement, how the high priest would go behind the curtain and he would sprinkle blood on the Ark of the Covenant to atone for his sins, his family's sins, and then go back in and do the same thing to atone for the sins of all the people. And so here's this atoning by the sprinkling of blood on the Ark. And so here, so shall he atone for many nations. So indeed, Jesus is the grace of God that was sent to save all mankind.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Did you know that the Apostle Paul in Romans 15 quotes Isaiah 52:15? And that helps me to sort of round out this thought where he says, they will see what had been told to them. They will understand what they've never heard before.
Put that together.
So in Romans 15, verse 20, Paul says, thus I make it my ambition to preach the gospel, not where Christ has already been named, lest I build on somebody else's foundation. Okay, so Paul's saying, I'm preaching to people who've never heard before the message of the gospel. And then he says, but as it is written, those who have never been told of him will see, those who have never heard will understand. So he's talking about people, at least Paul is in Romans 15, who never have heard the gospel, and they're exposed to it for the very first time.
And get it.
And they get it. And that's the sense of these rulers who are in awe when they put it all together. Here's this man who was mistreated. I mean, even Pilate and Herod, I'm not suggesting that the Bible anywhere says that they were saved or eventually came to believe the gospel. We hope they did, but history suggests otherwise.
Right.
Nevertheless, even they had to admit this man hadn't done anything wrong. He's innocent. He's the righteous one. They didn't say it that way, but they said, we don't find any reason to send him on to crucifixion. So they're going to put that sacrifice and his innocence together with the effects of these people who are cleansed because of this atoning work of Jesus, and they're going to get it. It's going to come together for them.
So let me put this together in my mind. Verse 13 of chapter 52 in Isaiah, my servant is going to act wisely or successfully.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be high and lifted up. I think of the cross itself, how he was lifted up.
Yeah.
He said that in John chapter 3 in reference
did.
to his own death.
And by the way, throughout Isaiah, if you keep it in Isaiah's context, the one who's high and lifted up is God. Isaiah 6:1.
Oh, yeah.
Isaiah
That's it.
57:15. So there's sort of this double meaning here.
Uh-huh.
Jesus said, if I be lifted up from the earth, I'll draw all men unto myself.
That's right.
Yeah.
So he's going to be lifted up on the cross
Yeah.
and exalted as the Savior.
Exalted, yeah.
He's going to be recognized as deity, divine. Surely this was the Son of God. He's the high and lifted one who is exalted. And he's going to be successful in redeeming mankind without money.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process of doing that, he's going to be so mistreated, it's going to be like you look at him and you can't even make out that he's a human being. Yeah. And yet through that process of being so mistreated via the crucifixion, he's going to provide prospectively a cleansing to all of mankind, Gentile alike, even to the point that kings of the earth and everyone has to step back and say, Wow, this was the Son of God. Wow, this is the Redeemer, the Savior of mankind, Jesus. And that's what opens the door for chapter 53. That's incredible, Robert. Thank you for helping me. That's really exciting.
So when he begins in verse 13 of 52 by saying, behold, he's saying, stop and pay attention to this. God is going, and if you think about the people that Isaiah is preaching to, and when Isaiah was commissioned to preach as a prophet, God told him, these people aren't really going to listen to you. Yep. And so Isaiah says, do you want proof that what I'm saying is true? Pay attention to this servant who's coming. Now, of course, those folks wouldn't be alive when he comes, but he speaks so confidently through this prophetic future tense. It's almost like it's already done. These are the things that he will do. And if you want to see how God's going to accomplish all of this, as you just said, redemption of the people with no money, but with something that is even more precious, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot, 1 Peter 1.
Yes.
Then behold this. And that tells me by application, I'm looking, we've got 4 minutes left. All right. That tells me by application, this isn't just something to admire. This is something that is inviting a response.
To
behold
apply. Yes.
the servant. Behold the servant. Stop and think about who this man is. Recognize that he is the servant of God. We could say he's the Christ. He's the anointed one, the one that God gave this specific mission to, and he executed it faithfully.
So in my mind, I like to look at the first word of your reading, Isaiah 52, verse 13, behold, and I like to look at the last word of your reading, understand, and put them together. Now, stop a minute, soak this up.
Yeah.
You understand that? Do I have time for a story or not?
Oh, of course you do.
So I was in a Bible bookstore years ago, and I saw this beautiful picture, and it was a picture of a beautiful little blonde-headed girl, and she was dressed in a a little girl's outfit, and you just couldn't help but fall in love with this little girl that was painted on this canvas. And there was a hand extended to her from the side of the canvas, and she had her hands on either side, wrapping that big hand in her hands.
Yeah.
And when you look carefully, that hand that was extended in her direction that she had cradled in hers, it had a nail hole in the middle of it.
Oh, wow.
So the portrait was one of Jesus extending his hand to this little child who was, like 2 or 3 years old.
Wow.
And here she is, and she's studying that hand and looking it over. And the caption at the bottom of the portrait says, "What happened to your hands?"
Oh.
Is that not precious?
Yeah.
And I'm reading this,
Yeah.
behold,
Yeah.
do you understand?
Yeah.
And that picture came to my mind. What happened to your hands? And I'm led to ask myself, do I really understand?
Yeah.
I mean, do I deeply, personally understand what was really done for me by someone who was so mistreated? You could look at him and say, is that really a human being? And to know, with all of that in mind, that I'm the answer to the question, my God, why? Robert, I'm the reason why.
Yeah.
And you're the reason why. And I hope that we all, through our study of Isaiah 53, will come to behold and understand who Jesus is and what he has done prospectively for every one of us.
Boy, starting next week when or the next episode when we get into 53, it's going to become very personal because there are a series of personal pronouns that put us right at the heart of the work of this servant.
Right.
It's just amazing stuff.
So, how much time do we have left?
We've got a little over a minute left. I'm hearing the music. Do you hear that? That says it's time.
Look at there. Hey, we did this in 30 minutes.
We did it. Now we
Don't
take our
say
victory lap.
It can't be done. So next week we're going to make up with a 3-hour episode.
That's
or next
right.
time.
Yes, that's right.
Man,
So,
I enjoyed this study. Thank you.
I've enjoyed it as well. We want to remind everybody we are making a little bit of a change this season, and we're going to release episodes every other week.
Yes.
So twice a month. We look forward to joining you then. That means we're going to have about 10 total episodes that'll be about Isaiah 53.
I can't wait.
We're going to be digging into it. Want to remind you that you can like and subscribe, follow this podcast in your favorite podcast app. Just search for Today with Jesus or find us on our website, thelightnetwork.tv. If you prefer to watch, you may do so on YouTube. Just search for The Light Network or search for Today with Jesus. I've enjoyed it. It's good to be
I
back.
have to. Good to be together.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I've enjoyed it too.
You're as ugly in person as you are on the camera.
Thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate that. All right. Live today and every day with Jesus in your heart and
God
your
bless
ways.
everybody. Thank you for being part of our study.